Welcome to Win with Richardson and Richardson. What's important now? Success in business most often comes down to hard work, not by silver bullets and quick fixes. It's knowing where to focus that hard work that's key to winning. Join sales prospecting expert and 3-time seven-figure business founder Carrie Richardson and managing partner of R&R Consulting and former owner of Doberman Technologies, Ian Richardson, for radical honesty regarding strategic planning, accountability, and execution that will get you the systematic results you're working toward. Let's get into today's episode. Thought leader and your host, Carrie Richardson.
Hi there, good afternoon. My name is Carrie Richardson. I am a partner at Fox & Crow Group and your host of the Win podcast. We're talking to people who will be participating in Pax8, people who have some experience doing this and have some advice for the people that'll be attending this year. With me today is Peterik, who is the Director of Channel for Xero.
Xero Next.
How are you doing today, Aaron?
I'm great.
I'm doing well, thank you. We're in Nashville, enjoying the very humid weather here. I forgot that it gets up to 85 in the south in the middle of spring, so it's been a little warmer than we would have liked.
I'm in Denver. Love Nashville. I try to get out there as much as I can, which is not often enough. Yeah, I love Nashville, but I've been in Denver for about 10 years. Denver gets the whole gamut of weather. Today, it's a little chilly. It's sunny out. That's the beautiful thing about Denver. We get a lot of sun throughout the year, but you never know. It could be 80 degrees one day and 30 degrees a couple hours later. So it's all about wearing layers out here. Anyone that lives in Denver or ever been to Denver, layering is very important.
Patagonia vest is like wardrobe essential for everyone in the channel at Pax8.
That's right.
Now, you have some experience with Pax before you joined Xero. You were a member of the team over there. Tell us a little bit about what you think we can expect this year at Pax8 Beyond.
Yeah, Pax8 does a great job with Beyond. I've been with Xero Networks for a year now. Prior to that, I was at Pax8 for about 5 years, doing a variety of roles. But the last couple of years, I was on the vendor management side. All the vendors that Pax8 works with, I was partnering with to help them go to market and take their solutions to the SMB market and work with MSPs. A big part of my role was to work with them for Beyond. I was at Pax8 for the inaugural event of Beyond. This will be the third year of Beyond now. Watching it morph into what it's become has been really fun to watch and be a part of it. In the early years of being at Pax8 and working on the vendor sponsorship side and making sure all the vendors had what they needed to be successful in the early events, and now sort of switching over, and now I'm on the vendor side, and it's been fun to see both sides of that equation. Pax8 Beyond has really grown to levels that are really going to require Pax8 to move, probably to a different location outside of the Gaylord here in Denver next year. Really grown that space a little bit, and I'm sure they'll be looking for a larger venue next year, given the size and gravity that this event is turned into. But yeah, it's a really fun event. If you haven't been to Pax8 Beyond before and you're an MSP, I highly, highly recommend it. It is definitely one of the best events out there for MSPs. Lots of really good speakers, lots of really good entertainment, and the way that Pax8 just structures the overall event for the MSPs is really impactful and beneficial for them.
I understand it's about doubled in size from the first year. I was at the inaugural event. I didn't get to go last year, so this is our first time sponsoring an event. So what advice would you have for vendors like us who are budget constrained and first time on the floor? What should we expect and how can we get better results?
Yeah, I would say from the vendor side, you want to make sure that you're fully ingrained in the entire event, right? I see a lot of vendors, whether it's Pax8 Beyond or other MSP events, go and they're there for the vendor exhibit, they're there for the expo, work in their booth, and then they're doing other things. To really maximize your time, maximize your ROI from these events, it's important that you're engaging as much as you can, attending the breakfasts, the lunches, where all the attendees are eating, and not just doing the expo, going to different sessions to see what they're learning about and what's being communicated, so that when they're stopping by your booth in the exhibit hall, you can use some of those conversations and other sessions during your conversations with them. It's not just about selling your solution. It's about learning about their business, talking to them about how the event's going so you can relate to them, build trust, things like that. For Pax8 Beyond and other MSP events as well, just make sure that you're fully ingrained in the entire event and not just showing up for booth time.
How far in advance do you begin preparing for an event like this?
I would say probably depending on what role you're in, right? If you're on the marketing side and you're focused on the booth and the swag items that you're going to hand out, you need to prepare for that stuff well in advance so you can purchase those things and get those things created and shipped in time. So there's the whole marketing aspect to it. I would say from a general sales perspective, probably 2 to 3 weeks out. Anything further than that, you're reaching out to the audience and to attendees is a little too early. They haven't really prepped for that. They're working on other things and everything. 2 weeks out is when I really start to hone in and focus on what we're going to do at the event from a selling perspective, what the agenda looks like, how to engage with them, and if it's possible, do some social media reach outs to say, hey, we're going to be attending this event. If you're attending, reach out to us. We'd love to connect with you. Start to schedule some coffee meetups, dinners, and lunches with various attendees or folks that you want to connect with that are going to be there. Any kind of pre-event reach out you can do. If you get a list and no attendees prior to that, that's obviously ideal because you want to try to engage and schedule time with those folks in advance of the event if you can. Share where your booth is going to be, things like that. A couple weeks out, you really want to start to invest some time into social media awareness, driving some excitement about what you're going to do at your booth, things that they can pick up and learn from you during this event.
What have you done in the past that worked well?
Yeah, to me, it's about scheduling, trying to get actual meetings scheduled prior to the event. One thing that I've learned is when you get to these events and people are busy, they're being pulled in a million different directions. There's so much information being thrown at the attendees. So when you get to these events, it's hard to schedule time and block people down into meetings. And I try to do as much of that as I can in advance. A lot of these events, the ROI really comes from if you can do a lot of excitement and driving awareness as to what we're going to be sharing at this event, where you can find us, why you want to stop by, and the benefits to you and your business. Those are going to impact the amount of people that you're going to be able to get and traffic that you'll get at your booth, as well as the takeaways and ROI that you can expect to get out of the meeting.
How do you prepare your team for engaging with MSPs on site? Does everyone have a different role to play, or is everyone doing the same thing?
I would say part of that depends on the booth size. If you have a big booth or one of the premier sponsorships where you have a lot of real estate on the floor to cover, you'll need demo stations. You'll need folks that focus on bringing people into the booth. You might have a little table where you have meetings inside of your booth if you have a really large booth. If you have a smaller booth, like a 10 by 10, typically you'll have 2 or 3 people in attendance there. For those folks, it's more about engaging with everyone that walks by. From a prep perspective on the vendor side, leading up to this, you really want to understand the size of your booth. You want to understand what the goal is. Is it to get leads? Is it to share a new product or a solution? Is it to get excitement? What is the overall objective of the meeting for you? Make sure that you're aligned on roles and responsibilities as well as key messages. The coaching I would always give vendors is you want to have your 30-second elevator pitch down because a lot of folks are going to walk by and you want to be able to grab their attention and try to pull them over to your booth to give a little more information on. You need to be really crisp on the benefits you provide to them as they're walking by so you can hopefully pull in more people to your booth.
Are there KPIs you hold your team accountable to at the event?
So you want to understand how many people we talk to out of that list of people, how many demos are we scheduling. So we always try to get demos scheduled so we can have more one-on-one time to learn about their business. There's only so much you can cover in a booth atmosphere, right? In most cases, partners aren't going to these things to be sold. They're going there to get educated. If your messaging can be focused on education and the problems that you solve, as well as the benefits to what your solution offers, you're going to get more interest there. And so then ultimately it's about communicating that. It's about trying to schedule as many demos And then out of the demos scheduled, what kind of trials can you get scheduled with those partners to try out your solution? And then ultimately, how much revenue can we get out of that as well?
So in your experience, what does the drop-off look like between demos scheduled at the event and demos that people show up for? On average, what's the no-show look like?
Oh, good question. That's going to vary depending on the product, to be honest. But typically, we'll see about 30%. If there are 1,000 attendees, we're going to try to get at least 10% of those scheduled, if not 20% of those scheduled for demos. We probably have a pretty high number for show rate. Let's call it 70% roughly. For the folks that are going out of their way to actually book a demo, and those are the folks that you want to talk to. They understand the need. I see a lot of vendors offer something for scheduling a demo, right? Scan this QR code and you get put into a drawing for a Yeti cooler or something like that. I've never been a big fan of that, to be honest, because doing that, you're now incentivizing people to do something that they may not want to do just because they want to win a prize. And so my coaching to vendors has always been, you want to get people that are interested in your solution so that when they're scheduling demos, because time is money, right? Not just for the partner, but for you as an organization. If you have a lot of false leads, false meetings scheduled, and you're getting no show rates, that's a waste. Something else to keep in mind if you're a vendor coming to these events.
What I've seen a lot of is people getting paid per scan and telling people, please, can I scan you? I get paid for every person that I scan. What have you seen that works for encouraging people to provide their data? How many people are giving out Gmail accounts to register for Pax8 Beyond? How many people gave their actual email address or the phone number?
There's a ton of bad practices out there, right? There's a lot of people that just show up to these events to get swag items to bring home to their teams. I see that all the time. And that's why I've never been a big fan of do this and you get this. I want real leads. I want folks that are really engaged, want to learn about what we do, why we do it, and have a real problem. I don't want to just fill our CRM with a bunch of false leads and junk that is going to take away from priorities that we should be focused on from a partner perspective. There's a lot of bad practices out there. I would encourage vendors to not do that unless they want to waste their time and build false leads in CRM. As a CEO of these vendors, everyone is always asking for what's the ROI coming out of these events, right? And yeah, you may be able to put 1,000 leads into your CRM, and that might look good, it might feel good, but then how many demos are you scheduling? How many of those are ordering a POV or some kind of trial? And then how many of those are actually converting to revenue? The more leads you put into your CRM, the more things you need to manage, the more noise you're making and sending out into the market with different email campaigns and so forth. There's just a lot of waste that happens with that.
Mm-hmm. Is there a process that brings the data into your CRM automatically, or do you do something to vet what you bring into the CRM after the event? Are you auditing the list of scans, or do you use a form that pulls it directly into HubSpot or Salesforce?
You can upload Excel files into your CRM pretty easily. A lot of events, including Beyond, vendors will get a lead scanner. So depending on the level of sponsorship you have, your sponsorship will either come with a lead scanner or you may have to purchase that on the side. I would highly recommend if you're a vendor attending Pax8, you have a lead scanner. If it doesn't come with your sponsorship, it is well worth the investment. And so with that lead scanner, you know, who's coming by your booth. You don't want to just get a full list of all the attendees at the event because there's a lot of noise you're putting into your CRM potentially. You want to know, you want to understand who actually came by and who you talked to. You can then input some notes about that conversation. Who did you talk to? Where are they from? Why did they stop by? What kind of problem are they looking to solve that your solution might be able to fill? What are they using today for this? And then go into your CRM, then utilize the lead scanner if you can. That can get auto-populated into your CRM. HubSpot, Salesforce, you can create different campaigns and cadences and reach out after the event as well using this information. But those are going to be the information that really determines what kind of ROI you get out of this. The event is one thing, but the real work starts after the event. It's in the follow-ups and those communications that you send out. as well as those meetings that you're able to get scheduled afterwards. The more notes and details you can get on each of those interactions, the better success you'll have after the event.
So for Zero at Pax8 Beyond this year, who should be coming up to the booth to talk to you? What problems are they trying to solve? Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about and the best fit MSP for your services.
Zero Networks is a unique spot for managed service providers. We do network segmentation. We are the only vendor offering what we call microsegmentation to the MSP channel and the SMB market. There aren't any other vendors in the world that offer microsegmentation in an automated way to the channel. We're going to use Beyond as a way to highlight and educate MSPs that in most cases don't really do segmentation. A lot of MSPs utilize VLANs to do segmentation today, which is just not a secure method. We use these events, especially here, to highlight the challenges in network segmentation. And the overall issue that all MSPs and all businesses have is lateral movement. Breaches are happening every single day. We see reports on ransomware and the number of breaches in almost every single hour, it seems like these days. And so the question is, when someone breaches your network, what security measures do you have in place to prevent them from moving laterally and accessing all of that sensitive information that we need to lock down? There's a lot of money being spent on perimeter defenses, trying to prevent threat actors from getting inside the network. We play inside the network. We segment that network so that if one machine or one user is compromised and breached, we prevent that breach from spreading across the rest of the network, which is then going to hopefully prevent ransomware. It's going to protect your data. We're going to be spreading the word on microsegmentation, how we do it in an automated way. It's agentless. We have a patent on how we apply MFA at the port level. So no one else in the world can do this except for Zero Networks. We allow customers to put MFA on any connection inside of a network. If you want to stop Julie in your organization from accessing this server, you can do that. And you can require Julie in this example to MFA before she gets access to that. And so our services can do that. It locks down networks. It is true zero trust. And we also have a remote access solution called Connect, which is a VPN replacement. It's the speed of a VPN, but has added layers of security utilizing MFA that I just talked about as well.
Thank you very much for joining us today, giving us advice on how to take advantage of an event the size of Pax8 Beyond. We will publish your booth number so people can find you and talk about the only solution for microsegmentation in the MSP space. Thanks a lot, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you.
See you.
Looking forward to it.
Take care.
Bye.
You've been listening to Win with Richardson and Richardson. What's important now? We're so glad you've joined us and know you're one step closer to winning big in your business too. We'd love to connect with you outside of the show. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to connect@rnr.consulting. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast so you'll easily know when new episodes are available. Until next time, you can win, and we're here to help.